الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. So we're on class 25? 25 of the Mukhtasar fi Tafseer al-Quran, the abridged Tafseer of the Quran. And we're still dealing with, alaykum salam wa rahmatullah, we're still dealing with the issue, alhamdulillah, of al-Yahud, the Jews. Alaykum salam wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh, Sister Dakir and everyone else. We're dealing with the issue of the Jews and their behavior. And we mentioned before that this is the story that's mentioned over and over and over again for us not to be like what? To be like Bani Israel, to be like the Jews. So the issue of them changing the book of Allah and speaking concerning the book of Allah without knowledge was the main issue. And then we just passed by the verse, and we will hear Muslims saying this like Jews. قالوا لن تمسنا النار إلا أياما معدودة. And they say the fire will only touch us for a particular number of days. Now, and all of that being mentioned has conditions. So from what I recall, we have reached the part where it says, as after Allah Ta'ala said, قُلْ أَتَّخَذْتُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَهْدًا فَلَنْ يُخْلِفَ اللَّهُ عَهْدًا. Have you taken a covenant from Allah that you will only be in the fire for a few days? Because Allah would never break His promise. أَمْ تَقُولُونَ عَلَى اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Or do you say that about Allah which you have no knowledge? So we know from our aqidah that, from our belief, is that there are Muslims, may Allah not make us from them, Ameen, that will be in the fire. May Allah not make us from those Muslims that will go to the fire. Ameen. And any Muslim that goes to the fire, it is mu'aqqatan. It is for a period of time, and not mu'abbadan, not forever. However, the Jews make this statement: لَن تَمَسَّنَا النَّارُ إِلَّا أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَةً. The hellfire will only touch us for a number of days. Here in Surah Al-Baqarah, and again in Surah Ali Imran. قالوا لن تمسنا النار إلا أيام معدودات. So we have the fact that the Prophet ﷺ in one hadith that's in Tirmidhi and in Bukhari and Muslim and others, that the Muslims that who go to the hellfire will receive a shafa'ah, intercession. The Quran will make shafa'ah. First, the Anbiya, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, our Prophet, he will make intercession for them and ask Allah, please let them out. The Quran, Ramadan, their good deeds, all of these things will make intercession and beg Allah to let them out of the fire, released out of the fire. So the question becomes, is it permissible with these texts that says that the Muslims that go to the fire, that they will receive intercession by the permission of Allah? مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَشْفَعُ عِنْدَهُ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. Who is that can intercede in His presence on anyone's behalf except with His permission, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So now we see that there will be intercessions made and Muslims will come out of hellfire. Can the Muslims say, لَن تَمَسَّنَا النَّارُ إِلَّا أَيَّامًا مَعْدُودَةً? Can the Muslims say what the Jews say? The fire will only touch us for a certain amount of days. Is it permissible? It's a question.
No.
We don't have any text that refer to a statement like that for us to say, to affirm.
Barakallahu fiqh. So Abu Rumaysa says no. Abdul Haq says we have no text that says we can make that statement because of that statement. Anybody else? So both brothers, their statements are correct. Abu Rumaysa just clearly saying no. Abdul Haq giving the explanation that we have no text, that because that exists. And this is correct. We cannot make the statement that the Jews made. The fire is only going to touch us for a few number of days. Why? Because the text is general. And for us to take a general text and apply it to ourselves, it goes for everything concerning reward and punishment. Saying the fire will only touch us for a number of days is just like saying, oh, we're in Jannah. And we know that the Muslim is between fear and hope. He has fear for the sins they committed and has hope for that the good deeds that he does will be accepted. So no Muslim can say, I'm in Jannah. No Muslim that's upright, righteous, he doesn't commit major sins can say, oh, I do good deeds, I'm going to Jannah. He can't say that. Say, I hope that I'm going to Jannah. He can't say, I'm going to Jannah. No one can say about himself that he's going to Jannah. And if he was in a group of people that were upright and righteous, a group of scholars could not sit and tell the people, we're the ulama and we're going to Jannah. Nobody can say this. And likewise, nobody can say about a believing sinner. No matter how corrupt this individual is, as long as they still are in the fold of Islam, that you're going to the hellfire. Nobody can guarantee anyone Jannah. No one can guarantee anyone the hellfire. This is speaking this is speaking on the behalf of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's impermissible. So the Jews were guaranteeing themselves an exit from the hellfire. This is kufr, this is disbelief. To speak on Allah's behalf is kufr. It could be out of mistake, but if the person knows that this is not permissible and that a person can only speak upon fear and hope. The Prophet ﷺ said, no one will enter Jannah except by the mercy of Allah. He was asked, even you? He said, even me. Nobody's going to Jannah except by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no one's going to the hellfire except by the justice of Allah. Allah is just. He's merciful and he's just. So whoever he allows, and he's bountiful. So whoever he allows to go into Jannah is because of his mercy and his bounty. And whoever he puts in the hellfire is because of his justice. Nobody's going to be in the hellfire except that they deserve it. وَلَا يَظْلَمُ رَبُّكَ أَحَدًا. And your Lord doesn't oppress anyone. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِظَلَّامٍ لِلْعَبِيدِ. And your Lord is not oppressive to his slaves. So nobody's going to Jannah except by the mercy of Allah. So the statement, the fire is only going to touch it for a number of days. This text is general. An individual cannot apply that to himself. Oh yeah, I know I had some major sins like that, but I'm only going to be in hellfire, You had this conversation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ أَتَّخَذْتُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَهْدًا فَلَنْ يُخْلِفَ اللَّهُ أَحَدًا. Did you take a covenant, an oath with Allah that he said you're going, but only a few number of days? Because Allah would never break his promise. Or do you say about Allah that which you have no knowledge? So no, even though we have text, that text is general. Now when it becomes to specific individuals, that's between them and Allah. Allahu A'lam. How long he's going to be there if he goes. Allah Ta'ala, out of his bounty and his mercy, could forgive him completely. This is the Mashiach, the will of Allah. The Mashiach of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, somebody can die a sinner. And Allah Ta'ala knows about him that which we do not know and forgive this individual. But we are only accountable for the apparent. So if the person died an open public sinner, we have to say he's a sinner. Why? That he was a public drunkard. Like, this is what we saw. As far as affair between him and Allah, that's between him and Allah. We're not responsible for the unseen. Just like if somebody is apparently righteous, we have to say that. He's upright, he's righteous. Was hidden between him and Allah, that has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with us. You want to say something about that?
Yeah, because you had mentioned previously that one of the Sahabas who was guaranteed Jannah that went to another Sahaba and said, am I of the hypocrites?
Nah, Nah. This is the Sahaba. The Prophet promised them Jannah while they were walking on the Prophet said Abu Bakr is in Jannah, Umar is in Jannah, Uthman is in Jannah, Ali is in Jannah, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas is in Jannah, Abu Ubaidah ibn Jarrah is in Jannah. And he mentioned Abdullah ibn Zubayr is in Jannah. He mentioned the companions that are going to Jannah. He said that to them in their face, they're going to Jannah. He told Bilal, I heard khashkhashatna alayk. I said, I heard your footsteps in front of me in Jannah. He said this to Bilal. So now he said that to them. But even when they heard that, after the Prophet ﷺ died, they did not stop worrying about whether or not they were going to go to the hellfire. Because they said, maybe the Prophet said that from what we were doing when he was alive. Maybe we changed after he died. Maybe Allah revealed that to him when he was alive, but now after he has died, are we still the same? Look at the hadith and the sunnah. When the Prophet ﷺ said, when he said he will be at his pond, Yawm al-Qiyamah, and people will be presented to him. And then he would say, oh, my ummah, my ummah. And then a wall will be put up between him and them. And he would say, my ummah. You know, why is a wall being put between me and my followers? And then it will be said to him, you don't know what they changed after you. And he will say, get away, all those who changed after. No. So we don't make that statement. The text is general and it's not specific. And this is from the principles of Tafseer, that every general text is to be left general, except with another text to prove that it was specific. And every specific text is to be left specific unless there comes another text that makes it general. You had your hand raised, Abu Rumaysa?
Now, in regards to that, I was thinking about the hadith I think we already went over it. About the 40 days of the embryo in the womb. Yeah.
That indeed some of the actions of the people of Jannah. And there's only a small, the hadith. And then what is written overtakes him, because what Allah knew he would do. Exactly. So Allah Ta'ala said, Bala, on the contrary, من كسب سيئة وأحاطت به خطيئته فأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون. And most of the time, the word خطيئة, you have خطأ, which means mistake, and you have خطيئة. خطيئة, when it's mentioned in Quran, it normally is talking about major shirk, major polytheism. So Allah said, Bala, man kasaba sayyi'atan, whoever earned a sin, وَأَحَاطَتْ بِهِ خَطِيئَتُهُ, and he is covered, surrounded by his polytheism. فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ, and for these people are companions of the hellfire. هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ, they will be there forever. So it shows that this is not making mistakes, because a part of our belief is that anybody from the people of our qibla that prays in our direction, believe what we believe, from the pillars of Islam and Iman, that we do not make takfir of them. We do not call them kuffar, unless they come with kufran bawahan. They come with clear, professed, pronounced disbelief. عندنا فيه من الله برهان, that we have proof. When you say somebody's a kafir, you better have proof when you stand before Allah. You better have proof. You say somebody's a kafir, you better have evidence. Because when we say somebody's a kafir, we're saying that Allah Ta'ala is the one who has made him a kafir. We can't take him out of Islam. We're saying he's a kafir based on the speech of Allah and the speech of the Messenger of Allah. This is called takfir. Takfir. And takfir is a ruling in Islam. It's when someone is not a Muslim, or someone claims Islam but is not a Muslim. So we make takfir of the kuffar. It's obligatory to make takfir of the kuffar. It's obligatory to say that the kuffar are kuffar. And whoever does not say the kuffar is a kafir. Whoever doesn't say the kuffar is a kafir. Whoever tries to say, oh, the Jews are believers, they have a book, they're believers, they just believe. Whoever says the Christians are believers, they're agnostics, they're believers, and claim that a kafir is a believer. After Allah Ta'ala said, Inna deena inda Allahi al-Islam. The only religion with Allah is Islam. Allah Ta'ala said, Man yabtaghi ghayra al-Islami dini falan yuqbala min. Whoever desires other than Islam as a religion will never be accepted. Who fil akhirati min al-khasirin. And hereafter be from the losers. So those who call to wahdat al-adyan, the unification of religions, coexist. It's kufr. It's kufr. Cross, the crescent, and star. This is kufr. There's no such thing as coexist. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. What are we going to do? 6 verses. Say, oh, you disbelieve. I don't worship what you worship. Nor do you worship what I worship. Nor do I worship what you have been worshiping. Nor will you worship what I worship. You have your deen, I have my deen. So how can we go? How? There's no such thing. But to deal with them in justice and kindness and respect and like that, that's different. It has nothing to do with the coexist when these people are going, saying that we worship the same God, we just call him by different names. It's not true.
You hear that a lot. Man.
Yeah, worship the same God, we just call him by different. No, we don't worship the same God. Because I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you worship Isa, or you worship ancestors, or you worship all of these things that they worship. Buddha, Shiva.
Saying that your God and my God is one, and that is Allah.
Nah, this is correct. This is over and over in the Quran. Ilahuna wa ilahukum wahid. Wa ilahukum wahid. Your Lord is one. Your Lord and my Lord is one. Not meaning, as we explain to them, which you're worshiping. No, you're supposed to be worshiping who I'm worshiping. The one true, unseen, only creator of everything that exists, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nah. وَأَحَاطَتْ بِهِ خَطِيئَتُهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ. So takfir is obligatory to say the kuffar are kuffar. It's not permissible to call them other than kuffar. They're kuffar, meaning to claim that they have belief or they're believers or something like that. Except for the titles Allah has given them, the people of the book. And other than that, that's it. But to claim that they are believers, it's not permissible. It's kufr. You have to say that a kafir is a kafir. Also, from the rulings that people pass is at-tabdi'. This is right after takfir. Takfir is to declare someone to be a kafir. So all rulings in Islam is going to fall either into obligatory, impermissible, highly recommended, disliked, and permissible. So that's the same thing with making takfir. Depending on the person you're talking about, is either obligatory to say they're kafir, impermissible, highly recommended, permissible, disliked, depending on who you're talking about and what the situation is. Likewise, tabdi', declaring someone to be an innovator. Just like tafseer, declaring someone to be an evildoer. Nah. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man qala li akhihi ya kafir faqad ba'a bi ahadihima." Whoever said to his brother, "You kafir," then the statement is going to be true about one of them. That's the danger of it. In another narration in Sahih Muslim, the book of Iman, it says that when somebody says about his brother, "Oh kafir," that statement ascends up into the heavens. And then it is verified if that statement is true about that individual. So it descends. And if when the statement descends on the individual as a verification, if it is not verified about him, it goes back to the one who said it about him. That goes not just with takfir, with tabdi'. Somebody says he's a mubtadi'. Okay, Allah's gonna verify. It's not true about him, it's gonna be true about the one who says it.
Yeah, what's that word again?
Mubtadi', innovator.
Yeah.
Right? Because to falsely declare people innovators is an innovation in and of itself. To falsely declare people to be innovators is an innovation. To falsely declare people to be kuffar is also an innovation. And this is one of the first innovations that appeared in Islam, takfir of the Khawarij. The Khawarij, they busied themselves with calling Muslims kuffar. Left the kuffar alone. And they just want to make sure, they want to prove that Muslims are kuffar. That's their whole thing. He's not a Muslim, he's a kafir. They're just busy trying to prove that, to the point that they started calling the companions of the Messenger of Allah kuffar.
Is it for the average Muslim to make takfir on someone?
Yes and no. So now, when should this is a good question. When should the average Muslim make takfir? Anytime someone has a belief, statement, or action that opposes Iman from every aspect, then it's obligatory for a Muslim to say that's a kafir, to acknowledge that kufr of this individual. So let's say, for instance, an individual say, the Quran is beautiful, but Fahd Muhammad, was Allah in the flesh. So the Muslim can't say, I mean, he might be, no, he's a kafir. You can't, no, he's not, might be Muslim. No, he's a kafir. So at this point, the average Muslim knows that, no, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah does not concern Fahd Muhammad. And those who believe in Fahd Muhammad are kuffar. So at this point, the average Muslim has to say, that's kuffar. That's kufr. If somebody says, I believe in Allah, his books, but I don't believe in the angels, because come on, how can you believe in angels? He's a kafir. He's not a pillar of iman. Right? And so forth and so on. So anybody, the scholars say, this is somebody denying that which is known about the religion of Islam by necessity, by which a person becomes a Muslim. So if somebody denies a pillar of Islam or iman, those things by which you can't be a Muslim without it, and somebody denies that, then any Muslim, man, woman, or child that knows that says, no, you're not a Muslim. If you say that, you're not a Muslim. If somebody says, the Quran is strong, don't get me wrong, it's strong, there's a lot of information, but not everything in the Quran is true. Kafir. Kafir. Straight away. Kafir. So he doesn't need to be a scholar to make this assessment or to make this ruling. He's a kafir. So listen, that guy's a kafir. Why do you say that, son? Because he said the Quran is beautiful, but not everything in the Quran is true. Oh, you're right. Stand up. Now, for those issues in which a person says that are issues of disbelief or polytheism, that the person who said it was ignorant about it, and to know about it, it takes research. It's not general information that everyone knows. In those issues, then it takes it's a process before a person can be called a kafir in those issues. From the process is izalat al-mawani', removing those reasons that would stop that person from knowing the correct understanding. Iqamat al-hujjah. Iqamat al-hujjah is establishing a proof upon this individual that he's heard the evidence that is irrevocably true, and there's no way he can deny it except out of arrogance. So now it's like, hold it. I showed you verse after verse in the Quran. So how are you still saying what you were saying? No, like the nation. The kuffar, the ayat of the ayat of Quran. How are you talking about Elijah Muhammad? Muhammadur Rasulullah. This was revealed. Elijah Paul was born. His name is Elijah Paul. His name was not even Muhammad. He was born in what? 1931? Yeah. So how can he be that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Allah is talking about in the Quran? No. Muhammad Rasulullah is talking about Muhammad ibn Abdullah al-Qurashi al-Arabi, the Qurashi Arab. It's not talking about somebody from Georgia. And we bring ayat after ayat. The Quran has been here before he was born, before his great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather was born. So how can he be the messenger of Allah? And then after that, they continue. Okay. Like, so iqamat al-hujjah, wa tawafur al-shurut, that the conditions that will make the person responsible are there. It's not intoxicated saying the statement. It's not sleep when he's making the statement. It's not insane when he's making the statement. He has his full faculties. He's not being forced to make the statement out of fear of being killed or something like that. Then once the conditions have been made clear, the things that will prevent the ruling from applying to him have been removed, and the evidence that would make him not understand have been established, and at that point, the ruling of takfir or tabdi' or tafsir will apply to that. Will apply to that. So, in those issues in which it takes research and understanding, then the general Muslim, doesn't delve into that and pass a ruling, because it's not a necessity to pass a ruling. It's permissible for a Muslim to declare something to be wrong without passing a ruling on the person that's doing it. Don't allow somebody to force you to say somebody's an innovator or somebody's a kafir or somebody's a fasik, a corrupt person. You say, listen, man, what he's doing is corrupt, and this does not coincide with the falsehood. Hate the sin, not the sinner. No, it's not the same thing. Hate the sin, not the sinner. That's not from Islam. We spoke about this before. This new thing everybody's saying, no, we hate the sin, but we don't hate the sinner. So when Allah Ta'ala, or if he decides to punish for the sin, is he going to punish the sin or the sinner? When people married people during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they got caught committing adultery. the Prophet stoned adultery or the adulterer? You know, who got the stone? So it's like, come on now. No. So after that, they will be in the hellfire forever. These have to be kuffar, only the kuffar in the hellfire forever. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ. Now, and those who believe and do righteous deeds, this is important that we pay attention to these ayat. When Allah Ta'ala never leaves out doing righteous deeds after belief. So we don't have the Christian mentality, as long as you have faith, you're good. No. So Allah Ta'ala said, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those who believe and did righteous deeds, فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ الْجَنَّةِ. They are the people of Jannah. And those who believe and don't do righteous deeds, they're not getting this guarantee. They're not getting this guarantee. You have to believe and do righteous deeds. These are the people of paradise. They will be in there forever. Forever. So now, let me talk about these ayat. ليس الأمر كما يتوهم هؤلاء. The issue is not the way these individuals imagine. فإن الله يعذب كل من كسب سيئة الكفر. And Allah Ta'ala punishes everyone who earned the sin of disbelief. وأحاطت به ذنوبه من كل جانب. And he was surrounded by his sins from every angle. ويجازيهم بدخول النار وملازمتها. And he will recompense them with entering the fire and remaining there. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. And for those who believe in Allah and His Messenger, وَعَمِلُوا الْأَعْمَالَ الصَّالِحَةِ. And they did those righteous deeds, ثَوَابُهُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ دُخُولُ الْجَنَّةِ وَمُلَازِمَتُهَا. And their reward is to enter into Jannah and to be there for good. مَاكِثِينَ فِيهَا أَبَدًا. To remain in it and to live there forever. So these are the ayat they wanted to. Okay, we'll take this last ayat because the benefits of these ayat are going to be mentioned, and then we'll be finished this page. So then after that, Allah Ta'ala mentioned, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ لَا تَعْبُدُونَ إِلَّا اللَّهَ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. This is a very important point. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِنْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. Allah Ta'ala said, and when we took the covenant from Bani Israel, the Jews that are killing our brothers and sisters in Palestine, when He took the covenant from their forefathers, well, really not these individuals that are killing our brothers and sisters, the real Jews, not these individuals who adopted Judaism that are not actually really Jews, but they adopted it, so they adopted their behavior pattern with it. So Allah took a covenant from the children of Israel, the children of Yaqub, the offspring of Yaqub, that they should only worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be dutiful to their parents. Very important. Allah Ta'ala mentioned after His worship in more than one ayah here in Surah Al-Nisa and over in the Quran, Surah Al-Ahqaf, and worship Allah and be dutiful to your parents. Be upright, be respectful, have manners, obedient to your parents. This is very serious for Allah to mention His worship and then how to treat one of His creation. It shows that the treatment of this creation that's being mentioned after being ordered to worship Allah is very important. It's very serious. And it doesn't matter if the parents are kuffar or Muslims, upright or corrupt. Being dutiful to them is an obligation. And their sins or corruption or disbelief does not remove the status that they have over you unless they try to force you to commit corruption or to worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Allah made plain in Surah Luqman. It's very serious. And disrespecting and being disobedient to the parents has a double punishment. It's a punishment in the dunya, and then it's a punishment in the hereafter. And I think some of us, if we, had any spurt of corruption in our lives that involves disrespecting our parents, we felt the punishment of that in our lives. We've had to go back and say, Dad, Mom, you were right. I apologize. I will wrong. If Allah Ta'ala chose to guide us to understand our mistake when we disrespected our parents or disobeyed them. And they had the experience, the life experience. They had the knowledge, the information, the years to guide us, and we went against their guidance, and we fell on our faces every time. This is very important to understand, being dutiful and being respectful to the parents. And being dutiful to the parents does not include agreeing with them in the haram. That's not being dutiful. Go buy me a pack of cigarettes. That's not being dutiful to the parents. Mm-hmm. Disobeying them at this point is obligatory. And this is from respect to the parents. To tell them no. Oh, go to the store and get me a pint of liquor. Can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. I've been ordered to obey you in consistence to the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Outside of that, I can't do it. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Mom. Can't do it. Allah is above. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater than everything and everyone. So it's not being consistent, and it's not, I didn't want to cause an argument. I didn't want to, وَإِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ لِأَبِيهِ آزَرَ أَتَتَّخِذُ أَصْنَامًا آلِهَةً. When Ibrahim said to his father Azra, are you worshiping idols? إِنِّي أَرَاكَ وَقَوْمَكَ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. I see you and your people upon clear misguidance. Ibrahim was disrespectful. Of course he wasn't. I see you and your people upon clear misguidance. He said that to his father. He said that to his father. Wasn't disrespect. Wasn't disrespect. So this is how respect to the parents. He said, Ya abati, la ta'bud ash-shaytan. He said, oh, my father, don't worship shaitan. It wasn't disrespect. Oh, Dad, don't smoke, don't drink, whatever's haram. Don't shave your beard. Whatever's haram. He can say that to his father. Say that to his father. And if his father retaliates because of him, or mother retaliates because of him, calling them to that which is right, he has to be patient upon that retaliation.
What do you mean?
Ibrahim's family, alayhi salam, his family tried to set him on fire for him calling them away from the worship of idols. So let's say, for instance, a mother or a father says, listen, go get me a pack of Cools or a pack of Newports. And then the child says, no, I can't, that's haram. And then mom slaps him or pulls his hair, punches him like that. Just be patient. Just be patient. Still don't do it. Sorry, mom. Even if you want to beat me. And don't be disrespectful. Ibrahim's father, he tried to kill him, and then when he couldn't kill him, Allah said, told the fire to be cool. And he came out of it unscathed, no burns on him. Then they exiled him. That happens to people, except Islam Kufar family. If you put that scarf on your head, the girls, you put that scarf on your head, and this is why we have to be more established as Muslims. What happens? We want to give dawah. Say, yeah, let's give dawah. And then people are accepting Islam, and we don't understand the dynamic. They may be accepting Islam, and the girl now, she puts on hijab, and mother says, you put that on your head, you better get out of my house. You're not wearing that in my house. Yeah. So now where are the Muslims? Where do we have for these? And we're gonna keep saying, you just got to be patient, and Allah's gonna help you. And yeah, that's what we're supposed to be here for. The same people that told her to change her religion and that, no, you're a Muslim and now you got to cover. And we told her all of that. And then now she's been put in a situation where she has nowhere to live. Now what we're going to do? Where are we? So we can't just be talk. Can't just be talk. We have to have tangible resources. Look at the man who came and was arrogant with the Prophet from the desert. Bedouin came to the Prophet and said, Ya Muhammad, أعطني فإن هذا ليس مالك ولا مال أبيك. He said, oh Muhammad, give me, for this is not your money nor your father's money. Prophet said, give me. He said, give me more. Give me more. Prophet said, give me some more. Give me more. Prophet said, give me some more. He took the goods, went off to his village. When he got to his village, he said, oh my people, I met a man that doesn't fear poverty. He brought his whole village back there except his son. Whole village back. He said, come back, let me give me. Brought his whole village back. I found a man that doesn't fear. Who doesn't fear poverty? Look at that description. I found a man that doesn't fear poverty. Whoever he believes in, it has to be the real one. Who doesn't fear poverty? He believes in the real one. Come on, y'all. And he brought his people back. And they accepted Islam. But the prophet had tangible resources. He didn't just tell people, oh, be patient, all the time. Some situations, yeah, Allah Ta'ala has your situation this way. But now, where there are tangible resources, and we're telling people, just put your trust in the Lord, just be patient. There are tangible resources that should be put at use. Third pillar of Islam, zakat. Zakat. Tangible resources. Look at the man who was with his wife during the daylight in Ramadan. Ya Rasulullah, halakt, I'm destroyed. Ma ahlakaka. What destroyed you? I was with my wife during daylight in Ramadan. You know the ruling? Fast 2 months, feed 60 poor people, free a slave. He couldn't do any of it. He said, well, you got to feed 60 poor people. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't have any money. The Prophet ﷺ said, bring me baskets. He brought them baskets of dates. He said, now go feed the poor. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I don't know anybody in the area that I live in that's poorer than me. He said, then go feed your family. Look at that. إِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. Allah said, you're upon an exalted standard of conduct. That's the Prophet ﷺ. That's the Prophet ﷺ that we believe in. SubhanAllah. Could you imagine now, normally with us, weak, imagine somebody came and said, man, I was with my wife. Akhi, fear Allah. Akhi, what are you doing, man? You're a grown man. You can't control yourself. Prophet didn't do any of that. Didn't do any of that. Got to feed somebody. I had no money. Prophet paid on his behalf. Give me some dates. Okay, go feed somebody. I'm the poorest person in my hood. Go feed your family. Go feed your family. Allah said to the Prophet, we have not sent you as a mercy, except as a mercy to mankind. So do dutifulness to the parents. Now, وَذِي الْقُرْبَى, and relatives. That's also for the relatives that are not fighting against Islam. We got to be kind to our relatives. Our kindness and dutifulness to our kuffar parents and kuffar relatives is stronger in many cases than just quoting text. Our behavior with them while holding on to principle. Because some people think kindness is concessions and deen and being weak and being with them at the cookout while the music is blasting and like that. Say, oh, I'm just trying to give them dawah. You're not trying to give them dawah. You're a German. You need to go. You're misrepresenting what you're upon. You have to excuse yourself and say, yeah, I just came to say greetings to everybody and like that. And I apologize, I have to go, but I'm a Muslim and the music and things just going on. They really want you there. You see them cut it off. You have to do it on your terms. You have to stick to your principles. I gotta go, y'all. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say hi to y'all. I wanted to just greet everybody. Hey, grandma. Hey, auntie. Hey, and then go. Don't stay there. Because they'll say it, but some of them have despicable intentions. They'll say it in way of a joke. Yeah, you talking about you listen to music. I remember you came to, you was bobbing at the cookout last time. They use it as a proof against you. So you don't go. I'm not going. This is what you're doing. But I'll show up just to show y'all that I'm keeping my ties with my relations. I'm being kind to y'all, but I have to go because of what Allah said. وَذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى. The orphan is very important to treat the orphan well. The Prophet ﷺ was an orphan. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Ana wa kafil al-yatim kahatin on Yawm al-Qiyamah." He said, me and the one who takes care of an orphan will be like this. And a divorced sister that has children by another man, her children are now orphans. just because she's keeping them away from their father. No. Brothers be calling and say, yeah, I'm taking care of these orphans. And the father of those kids is wondering where his children are. The woman has used the Kufar law to veto the law of Allah. The law of Allah says that the Prophet said the woman has more right to those children as long as she doesn't get married. When she gets married, the father automatically gets custody as long as he's upright in his deed. So now the woman sees the ruling of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the children are supposed to go to the father. I'm not giving my kids up. And then she vetoes Allah's law with the Kufar law. She goes to the Kufar and she files for custody. She doesn't understand. It has nothing to do with the man that she hates or she claims that she hates. She's now fighting against the Sharia. She's fighting against Quran and Sunnah. No, I know Allah said, but I'm not. No, I want my kids. I love them. It has nothing to do with it. Allah Ta'ala has legislated it. They go to their dad. And stop telling your Muslim children that were born in a halal marriage from a Muslim man. I don't care what you and that man went through, and you're telling them call another man dad, Abu, or anything like that. What is this? What is this? Prophet says it's a major sin for a man to call another man his father, trying to attribute himself to that man's lineage. It's haram. It's haram. For a man to call another man his father. As far as calling him a father as a nickname, like he's our elder and like that, that's one thing. But for a man to attribute himself to another man, his lineage, and that's his roots and like that. And that's why brothers have to be careful that this what is they're doing now, the genealogy and the taking and all of that, and I'm from the Congo and I'm from the Allahu A'lam, I mean we're from Adam, that's sufficient. But I mean, who has verified the accuracy of these individuals? Who has verified the accuracy of them? Who's their judging system, and based on what? And does it go with the Sharia? So, person, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. I sent my blood off in an envelope. It came back with, come on, stop it. Your dad is Vern, your mother's, Chris. That's it. What's your lineage? Vern and Big Vern, and then before that, Kevin. That's it. That's your lineage. It's sufficient. It's sufficient. And then what if you really find out your lineage, especially brothers that want to go into and this is a whole subject. Especially brothers that want to go into the native indigenous, they're getting into that. I'm indigenous. My family wasn't brought up a slave. I'm from the indigenous. Okay, fire worshiper, totem pole, bear, tiger, cheetah. What are you talking about? Mushrikun. Native Americans are mushrikun. What are you hype about? Yeah, I'm originally Native American. Okay, so you originally come from a group of mushrikun that Allah had wiped out by the people of the book when they came here. And this is a really topic that I really want to go into, called race, religion, and reality, to let the Muslims understand that what is our position concerning these concerning colonialism, and who was conquered and who was overthrown and who became in power. The Prophet ﷺ celebrated, or he was happy, he rejoiced. I'm not going to say celebrated. He rejoiced when the Romans beat the Persians, because the Persians were pagans and the Romans were Christians. So it's better for the Christians to be in power than pagans or indigenous one. Better for the Christians. So the European came and he vanquished who? The Native American. Okay, from a humanity point of view, you may feel sad, but could you imagine? Read about their culture and their belief in their religion, and the totem pole and the fire god and the water god, and sacrificing virgins when it was a flood. They would throw virgins out there to drown in the flood in order to stop the anger of the gods of the sea. This is what their aqidah was. So you would rather have that than Christianity? Come on now. You get really emotional. But when it comes to Tawheed, then we would rather have the people of book. Allah Ta'ala said it. لَتَجِدَنَّ أَشَدَّ النَّاسَ عَدَاوَةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الْيَهُودُ وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. He said, you will not find anybody being more severe in their enmity, in hatred for those who believe, than the Jews and the pagans. ولتجدن أقربهم مودة للذين آمنوا الذين قالوا إنا نصارى. And you will not find anybody closer in their affection to those who believe than those who say we are Christians. So Christopher Columbus from Spain, from the people of the book. I'll take him over Geronimo any day. That's the reality. والمساكين, and treating the poor well. An older brother named Adel from the islands, we were in Maryland. And he was coming to the masjid and he stopped. He stopped at one of those chicken stores and bought some chicken. There was a lady out there begging. And this is sad. I mean, I can't blame the Muslims in Flint for this. This was in Maryland. But so he bought some chicken and gave the lady a meal. And the lady said, "What are you?" He said, "I'm a Muslim." She said, "I didn't know Muslims feed the poor." This should be like known. Oh, go to the Muslims, they'll feed you. Go to the Muslims, they'll help you. We should be known for this. She said, "I didn't know the Muslims feed the poor." والمساكين, to be do. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, may Allah guide us all, ameen. And say good things to the people. Speak well to the people. So we have to check our speech when we're talking to people and pick the best words. Allah Ta'ala said in Surah Al-Isra, وَقُولِ عِبَادِ قُولِ الَّتِي هِيَ أَحْسَنُ, and say to my slaves, say that which is best. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنزِغُ بَيْنَهُم, indeed shaitan causes division between them. Nah. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ, and establish salah, وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ ثُمَّ تَوَلَّيْتُمْ, and he told them to establish the salah and pay the zakat, and then they turned their backs except for a few of them, and they are obstinate. The ulama say, قَالُوا كَذِبًا وَغُرُورًا. Oh no, I'm sorry. وَاذْكُرُوا يَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ, and remember, O children of Israel, العهد المؤكد الذي أخذناه عليكم, and remember, O children of Israel, the certified covenant that we took upon you, بأن توحدوا الله ولا تعبدوا معه غيره, to single out Allah and worship and do not worship anything other than Him with Him. وأن تحسنوا إلى الوالدين, and to treat your parents well, والأقارب, and your relatives, واليتامى, and the orphan, والمساكين, and those who are poor, والمحتاجين, and those who are in need. And an orphan is someone whose father died before they reached puberty. That's an orphan. Father, not mother. Father. Because in order for a person to be an orphan, what does an orphan mean? It means a child that doesn't have anyone to financially take care of them. This shows how serious the responsibility of finances is on a man. So if a man is willingly and intentionally, without any excuse, not taking care of his children, then he has put them in a state of orphans while he's alive. So he's, as they say, deadbeat. That's a deadbeat dad. That is a deadbeat dad. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. He has the finance, he has the ability to take care of his children. There's nothing to prevent him from taking care of his children, except that he's chosen not to take care of them and leave them in a state as if he's dead. That's deadbeat. That's an orphan. Now, وَبِأَن تَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ كَلَامًا حَسَنًا, and to say to the people good speech. Amran bil ma'ruf. Look at this. Look at how the ulama explain this. So what is saying good speech to the people? Just saying a bunch of nice things and flattery? Said no. They said no. They said Amran bil ma'ruf, ordering that which is good. وَنَهْيًا عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ, and for this is good speech. بِلَا غِلْظَ وَلَا شِدَّةٍ, without going to extremes and harshness and coarseness. And people today are so emotional, so soft, that they don't understand the difference between being stern and being mean. So everything stern to them is mean. You're never supposed to be stern and firm and like that. No.
Assalamu, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Huh?
Can you elaborate on that? The difference between being stern and mean?
Nah. Okay. So to be stern is to say, as Allah Ta'ala said, قُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا, say a word that is straightforward, that's strictly the truth. So we do not manipulate the truth in order to make people comfortable. Now, to be stern, to be mean is to say it in a way that's harmful to the people. For instance, you say, you can say to someone, Akhi, you've been Muslim such and such amount of years, and you're doing this thing and you know it's haram. Fear Allah, ya akhi. Fear Allah. You could die any day. Or you could say, Akhi, come on, you're acting stupid. What are you, stupid? Okay, now, what are you, stupid? Things like that, where it involves calling people out of name or out of their name and things like this. This is now being what? Mean and harsh. But being stern, Akhi, you need to fear Allah. You've been Muslim too long to still be doing these things. And like that, now you're being stern and being firm with the truth. Nah. Wallahu a'la wa a'la. Now, and say good things to the people, ordering the good, forbidding the evil, bila ghidla wa shidda. Wa bi an tu'addu as-salah, and that you should establish the prayer tam ala nahwi ma amartukum. And you should establish the prayer completely according to that which you have been ordered. Wa bi an tu'tu az-zakah bi sarfiha li mustahiqiha tayyibatan biha anfusukum. And you should pay the zakah by giving it to those who actually deserve it, with having a good feeling about doing it. Allah Ta'ala in Surah At-Tawbah explained about the hypocrites. Allah Ta'ala is a scary ayah. قُلْ أَنْفِقُوا طَوْءًا أَوْ قَرْهًا لَنْ يُتَقَبَّلَ مِنْكُمْ إِنَّكُمْ كُنْتُمْ قَوْمًا فَاسِقِينَ. Allah said, say to them, pay, give your wealth, willingly or unwillingly, it will not be accepted from you, because you are corrupt people. Then Allah Ta'ala said, وَمَا مَنَعَهُمْ أَن تُقْبَلَ نَفَقَاتُهُمْ إِلَّا أَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. And nothing prevented them from their charities from being accepted from them, except that they disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. وَلَا يَأْتُونَ الصَّلَاةَ إِلَّا وَهُمْ كُسَالَى. And they do not come to prayer except lazily. وَلَا يُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا وَهُمْ كَارِهُونَ. And they do not spend except they hate that they have to give their money. They give their money with dislike. It's heavy. Allah said, فَلَا تُعْجِبُكَ أَمْوَالُهُمْ وَلَا أَوْلَادُكُم. So do not be impressed by their wealth or their children. These were the wealthy hypocrites during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That was heavy. Like they say in the American saying, short arms and deep pockets. Heavy. Oh, it's heavy on them. Because they hope by not spending that Islam would collapse. This is their hope. This is their hope. And it's the same thing with people today. The societies or the charitable organizations and societies, that if they see a masjid in which the sunnah is being established and being called to, they withhold the money from that masjid. They don't want to see the sunnah flourish. They want their bid'ah, they want their modernism, this progressive Islam, they want that to flourish. So they say, no, we give the sadaqat, we're going to give them to the masajid of the Sufi and the masjid of Tabligh and the masjid, those masajid in which they're according to bid'ah and have the modernism. These are the ones that get their sadaqat, and the masajid that have the sunnah being called to the sunnah, and the people are being told to grow their beard, and the women are being told to put on proper hijab. No, they don't get any money. The ones where the women have the belts on their hijab and tighten, describe their hips, these are the ones that get it. Where the women are speaking up, they got female imams, and the women are speaking and talking, and men and women are mixing together, they get all the money. Now, coexist. Wallahu musta'an. So they hate to see the sunnah flourish, so they withhold the money from the places of the sunnah. This is no different from what the hypocrites do at the time of the Prophet. Read Surah Al-Munafiqun, you'll see it clearly. In Surah At-Tawbah, it's long. Surah Al-Munafiqun is short, page and a half. You read that, you'll see all of this being mentioned. How don't spend until they fall apart and don't give them anything. This is how the hypocrites talk then. If you hear these people talking like that now, if this is the way that people behave in the ranks of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then what do you think we have in our ranks today? That was during revelation being set down. This is how people were plotting against the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So today, when anybody talks and carries that same message, you don't believe that those same kind of people exist to destroy that da'wah? No. Prophet said, the hadith of Anas, not 1 year is going to come to you people except the one after is going to be worse than it. No. So a person gives zakat happy, hoping it's going to be accepted, hoping it's going to raise his rank with Allah. فما كان منكم بعد هذا العهد إلا أن منكم بعد هذا العهد إلا أن انصرفتم معرضين عن الوفاء بما أخذ عليكم. And what was from you after taking this covenant, except that you turned around and were obstinate and you broke your covenant and you broke your covenant. Now, من فوائد الآيات, from the benefits of these verses, بعض أهل الكتاب يدعي العلم بما أنزل الله والحقيقة لا علم له بما أنزل الله وإنما هو الوهم والجهل. That some of the people of the book, they claim that they have knowledge of what Allah sent down, and the reality is that they do not have any knowledge of that which Allah sent down, except that they are under delusion and ignorance. And the same thing for many Muslims. Delusional and ignorant, and they're the first one to put their mouths in front of a microphone to talk about the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, من أعظم الناس إثما من يكذب على الله تعالى ورسوله. From the most severe people in sin are those who lie upon Allah and His Messenger. Rather, they are the worst sinners. فينسب إليه ما لم يكن منه. So they attribute to Allah that which is not from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Third benefit, ما أعظم مواثيق التي أخذها الله تعالى على اليهود وشد التأكيد عليها لم يزدهم ذلك إلا إعراضا عنها ورفضا لها. With the great covenant that Allah Ta'ala took upon the Jews and the confirmation of it, it still did not increase them except in their obstinance and turning away and rejection of those covenants. Wallahu al-musta'an. So Muslims, we have to be very careful. That's page 12. Inshallah ta'ala next week. وَاذْكُرُوا وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِيثَاقَكُمْ لَا تَسْفِكُونَ دِمَاءَكُمْ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. And we took the covenant from you that you should not shed each other's blood. That was true amongst them. It's true amongst the Muslims. We're not supposed to shed each other's blood. كُلُّ مُسْلِمْ عَلَى مُسْلِمْ حَرَامٌ. Everything that belongs to one Muslim is sacred from the other Muslim. دمه, his blood, وماله, his wealth, وعرضه, his honor. And the easiest thing we destroy is the honor of the Muslim. That guy, don't take that guy, he's this. So we'll stop here. We ask Allah Ta'ala to give us sincere intentions, beneficial knowledge, and righteous actions according to the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We'll stop here. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته شيخ.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.